The rain subsided and went into a drizzle before it completely stopped falling to the earth. The dark blue clouds cleared and it became brighter. On the horizon appeared some first chroma stars, whose pale glow slowly became stronger. The treetops allowed a sparkle in some places into the dense forest. The night was over and morning was dawning. Some birds chirped happily, full of anticipation for the warm glow of the chroma stars after a cold, rainy night. Only an exhausted panting and snorting disturbed the harmony of nature. The sound of hoofs on the wet forest floor scared away some animals that were looking for food. Cheyenne had spent the whole night on the back of her horse, fleeing from her hunters. Arukas had been faithfully by her side all this time, even though he was now so exhausted from all the running that he could hardly breathe and stumbled with every second step. Falconhide was not much different. It had taken a long time before they could finally leave their pursuers behind, but now they seemed out of danger. At least for now. The girl parried the stallion from the gallop into the walk. The brown horse made its neck long and gasped for air. From time to time it coughed. The body of the big four-legged friend trembled, and his legs threatened to buckle at any moment. The fairy wolf also slowed down, lowered his head, and stuck out his pink tongue. Staggering, he put one paw in front of the other, tried not to stumble or even fall. Cheyenne leaned on her mount's wet neck and looked blankly at the wound on her right palm. Her eyes burned from the many tears she had shed, and so she closed them. The girl was tired. She would love to fall asleep and never wake up. She had lost everything that was important to her. Her grandmother, her grandfather. She didn't even know if Xava was okay, and if he could escape the nights. And after last night she couldn't go back home. For some reason, incomprehensible to her, the nights seemed to want to kill her. If she were to go back to the Undercity, all the inhabitants there would be in danger, because the nights seemed to stop at nothing, and anyone who stood in their way would probably have forfeited his life. Cheyenne had seen that with her grandparents. The memories of the previous night came back to her mind. She saw in her mind's eye again her beloved grandparents dying right in front of her, in an agonizing way. Those had been the most terrible minutes of her life. The girl remembered the words of the knight in golden armor. "Well, at least you fell nicely into our trap. Your grandparents have also proven to be a wonderful bait." Cheyenne couldn't believe all this. What was suddenly wrong with the world? Yesterday everything has been so beautiful and in order, and now all of a sudden such terrible things happened. Why is all of this happening? Why do they want to kill me and have my crystal? Why did my grandparents have to die? Why didn't I realize it was a trap? Could I have done something differently? Change something? If I hadn't been so unreasonable, they might be still alive. She blamed herself for everything. She must have done something to incite the knights, but with the best will in the world, she didn't know what. Hopefully Xaver is doing well. He must have escaped them. He must. If the crystal is so important to them, then they should have it. But leave him alone. It's anyway just a necklace that my mother gave me for my birth. For as long as she could remember, she always wore this black pendant around her neck. Her grandparents had told her that the last thing her mother had done before she died after giving birth was to put this crystal on her baby. Since then, Cheyenne was told she had never taken off the necklace. Although in the beginning she always had to put the jewel twice around her neck because it was so long. Over time, the girl grew taller and was able to wear the crystal normally. What do they find in this chain? I just don't understand all of this. It's just a crystal pendant. You can even buy them cheaply on the market. Cheyenne racked her brain, hoping to distract herself from her grief. But it wasn't long before she got a headache. She became dizzy, and the events of the previous night caught up with her again. The glow of the chroma stars which sparkled between the treetops became stronger. Slowly but steadily it became warmer, and the morning glow had a calming effect on the sad girl. Her wet hair and dress were slowly dried, as was the fur of the two four-legged friends she was traveling with. Cheyenne straightened up to see where they were, but they were in the middle of the forests of luminous trell, and these were known to extend over the most of the continent. So they wandered around completely disoriented. Cheyenne had never been here before. She didn't even know if there was a village nearby, if anything was nearby, had no idea where she was. And even if they found a village or a town, she wouldn't even have money to buy food and drink for herself and her two companions. She had never been so far away from home. The situation seemed hopeless, and the girl thought she could not be more desperate than she already was, but she seemed to be wrong. Just when she thought it really couldn't get any worse, she heard a growl. It definitely didn't come from Adokas. Falconheart laid his ears back completely flat, pulled his head upwards, and stopped in shock. The fairy wolf at his side put up his neck fur, raised his tail and sensors, and also began to growl threateningly. As if spellbound, he stared in the direction from which the sound came. There was a rustling bush there. Adokas moved slowly towards it, but Cheyenne whispered an order to him. "Stop! Maybe it will leave us alone if we go on and pretend we didn't notice." As soon as she uttered the words, she also knew that this would certainly not be the case.